Picture this. It's Valentine's Day. It's the day of love.
Today is gonna be a great day,
Billiam says. He gets ready, then storms out the door and suddenly... Wait, what? It was just a dream? That's right. And instead of going out for Valentine's Day, this guy here spent 9 days straight playing Project Sekai, day in and day out. His roommate must have thought he was insane.
Look at this dude.
So what exactly was this person doing playing Project Sekai in his room for 9 days straight? Allow me to introduce you to tiering, the most expensive and time-consuming activity in Project Sekai. For those unfamiliar with the term, tiering refers to the act of climbing the event leaderboard during an ongoing event. An event stays active for 9 days and its respective leaderboard will be refreshed once every 11 days. By getting a certain rank or tier on the leaderboard within an active event, you can get some cool rewards, buy valuable items from the event shop, and obtain a very nice event title that you can put on your profile. This guide is applicable for all players, so stick around as I walk you through the tiering process. During an active event, whenever you play through a song, you will see experience points and tokens accumulating at the last screen of your results. Basically, the more points that you get, the higher up you will get on the leaderboard. So how do you increase the amount of points you get per song? There are multiple factors in getting the most out of each run, such as, for example, knowing how much energy to use per run, what kind of event team to draft, which songs to play, and more. Let's start with drafting an event team first. During an active event, when you go to the edit page, you can see at the bottom here the characters and character types that are boosted for the event. This means that for every character that you add onto the team that satisfies at least one of the bonus requirements, you will get an extra boost in your event points. This bonus will be further increased if the card on your team satisfies both the event character and character type requirements, and becomes even greater if the card is pulled from the gacha from that event. Ideally, you want to try your best to draft a team to maximize the bonus. Though not everyone has the cards to satisfy the bonuses, for new players, if you have cards that satisfy some of the bonus, it can be efficient to put those characters on your team, even if they aren't leveled up. Whenever you play a song, your characters get leveled up passively. What I do with new accounts is, I put all the low-level cards that satisfy at least one of the bonuses on a team, and through playing enough songs, will eventually be able to max out my characters. Then I swap them out and repeat the process. Additionally, if you feel serious about an event and really like the characters, you can try your luck on the gacha. You can check out my crystal farming guide here if you're ever short on crystals and want to farm more. It is always recommended to plan ahead of time to ensure you spend wisely. For more general account building, if you want to increase the amount of characters on your roster for future events, I would highly recommend waiting until colorful festivals to pull, as they double 4-star drop rates from 2.5% to 5%. Anyway, with the cards in your list, you can use the filter here to see which cards fit an event criteria. And if you don't have enough, it is totally fine to put in a character that doesn't fit the bonuses, as they can still benefit from the passive level up. This might not get you very many event points, but this will help in resource management later down the line. For those who already have a solid roster, I find the recommended function to actually come in handy and use it often. But if you want better control of your event team, you can always use filters and search for the cards here. Basically, you should draft a team that maximizes both your event bonus and your overall team talent. This team talent can be further increased if you level up your characters, increase character ranks, and upgrade the decorations in the sekais and in the schools. You should also put your best card on your leader slot. In solo lives, the leader skill activates twice, and in co-op, your leader skill will contribute to the rest of the team. You should go for skills that increase your score the most. You can also put your Oshi in the slot. By putting your Oshi in the leader slot, you can also increase your character rank for that character. Now, I believe there are even more ways to calculate event team bonuses and min-maxing, but for most players, these event drafting methods are more than enough. With event teams out of the way, let's get to setting up energy usage. Consuming energy increases the amount of rewards, experience, and event tokens. Typically, 2 times or 3 times energy usage per run will net you the best and most efficient results. Any higher will result in diminishing returns, where you start to gain less with each run. 4 to 6 times energy usage can be helpful for those who want to reach at least the top 2,000, while 7 to 10 times energy usage will be helpful for those who want a shot at the top 100. That energy usage may also come in handy if you're extremely tight on time and an event is ending. For the casual player, I highly recommend 2 times or 3 times energy usage until energy has been depleted for the day. 1 energy is restored passively every 30 minutes, and a full refill will take about 5 hours. While we're at it, let's talk about energy refills. Through login bonuses and event rewards, you can earn extra energy refill drinks. You should aim to save these whenever you can. If there is an event that you choose to tier seriously in, having energy refill drinks can save you a lot of crystals. Each full refill will cost 50 crystals, and using them in quick succession will see them gone extremely quickly. If you are absolutely sure that you don't want to tier high in an event, you can use these energy drinks whenever you need it. Here's a little tip for those who want a bit of free bonus energy. At the crossing, you can watch 2 ads and get a full refill every day. During the downtime between events, I like to save that extra 10 energy for the next day when an event starts. Make sure to check out the other ad rewards as well. They are refreshed every day, and free rewards are always nice. It is typically recommended to get the top 5,000 for the best rewards. At that rank, you are guaranteed at the very least 1,000 crystals. When you include reading the event stories, going to the event after shows, and buying crystals from the event shop, you basically guarantee yourself 2,000 crystals just from one event alone. The top 10,000 is usually where I like to land for most events nowadays. Though less, the rewards are still relatively decent without having to use bonus energy drinks. Realistically, I only play about 20 minutes per day, so my average rank usually lands within the top 20,000. But by logging on at least twice a day with at least 5 hours in between, you can definitely manage the top 10,000. And now to the gameplay portion. This is the part where you spend your energy to get your points and rank up on the leaderboard. To get the most points, you want to play in co-op. The amount of experience and tokens you get from solo lives are significantly less than in co-op. When you open the co-op screen, you have 2 options, the general room and the veteran/pro room. If your team has enough talent to enter the veteran room, you should choose it if you can. Otherwise, there's no big deal if you can't make it at first. You don't have to force your way into the veteran/pro room. Focus on event bonuses as your priority first. Casual players will do fine just playing any song until the energy has been depleted for the day. This is usually what I recommend if you want to keep the game fresh and interesting. If you want extreme efficiency, there are basically 2 options. Longer runtimes will generally guarantee more points, and such is the case for Melt. Melt is the longest song in the game, and will guarantee you the most points of any song. At the other end of the spectrum, you have Hitorinbo Envy, the shortest song in the game. The song doesn't give the most points, but due to it being the shortest song in the game, it will net you the most bonus points in a short amount of time. The song is also on the lower end of difficulty, being only a 22 on Expert and a 26 on Master, so it is easier to manage than Melt, which is a 25 and 28 respectively. Players who want to hop in and out of the game as quickly as possible will generally find themselves playing Hitorinbo Envy as the default option. A good middle ground between the 2 songs is Lost and Found, which is another rather long song, but is relatively efficient, and more interesting for those who don't want to play Melt or Hitorinbo Envy.
Lost and found, more like lost my combo.
Hitorinbo Envy is by far the most effective and relevant song for tiering considering its short runtime and efficiency. You can find private rooms dedicated to tiering with this song, so if you are ever considering a top spot on the leaderboard, you can always find a dedicated tiering server. I'm not really part of any myself nowadays, but you can maybe start with the official Colorful Stage server and keep looking from there. There are 2 types of co-op. You have your regular 5-player co-op, and then you have your Cheerful Carnival, which usually occurs once every 3 events. In this game mode, you pick one of 2 teams to be a part of, and during co-op, will be competing against an opposing team, where both teams will play a random song and see who comes out on top. The team with the higher team talent will generally win the match, but honestly I don't really find it that big of a deal. At the end of an event, the winning team will earn 50 more crystals and some extra energy, but it's nothing really to write home about. You can just pick a team that you like, but if you plan to play with your friends, make sure to choose the same team as them, or else you won't be able to co-op with them for the duration of the event. Cheerful Carnival is often frowned upon for its many problems. For starters, having 10 players in a match instead of the regular 5 increases the chances of loading problems and room disbands. In addition, you aren't able to pick songs, which may be limiting to players. Cheerful Carnival used to be extremely buggy, and finding an opposing team would often fail. It has largely been fixed in more recent updates, but the point about loading problems, room disbands, and limits still apply. That said, if I had to choose an event to tier, I would pick Cheerful Carnival over regular co-op any day. When given the choice to pick songs in regular co-op, people often choose meta-tiering songs like the previously mentioned Hitorinbo Envy or Melt or Lost and Found. Cheerful Carnival events significantly improve song selection, which makes the game a lot more interesting in the long run. In Cheerful Carnival, you also get the chance to create a team name and gift energy to your teammates. You can gift 9 free energy per day and similarly can accept 9 energy per day. You can gift more with paid crystals as well. Let's also not forget your challenge shows. Challenge shows can give a pretty significant amount of experience and tokens per day, so do be sure to do them daily. On event day, make sure an event has started before you do your challenge show in order to get those extra points. You can also take advantage of the autoplay feature. You get them 10 times a day, and if you're busy or need a quick break from tiering, this will come in handy. I usually like to put Melt on autoplay as it gives tierers a 30-minute break without compromising on tiering downtime. Do keep in mind you get significantly less rewards, points, and tokens with auto runs, but some points is better than no points at all. You can increase the amount of autoplays per day by purchasing the Colorful Plus Standard and Deluxe subscriptions. You can keep track of your ranking here in the events page. While we're at it, let's talk about the items you should get in the event shop. Prior to that though, make sure you read the event stories before the event page goes away, as reading each chapter will grant you 50 crystals and 2 music cards for a total of 400 crystals and 16 music cards. In the event shop, prioritize the 2 and 3 star cards, and of course the crystals. After obtaining those, the rest is mostly up to you based on what you can afford, but I will usually grab items that I need more of. If you have a priority list for items you like to grab, be sure to leave them in the comments below, but here is mine. And don't forget to catch the after show after an event ends. If you plan to tier high, there are a couple terms you should know: parking and boating. Parking refers to when a tiering player parks or stops gaining points at a specific point. Some players can choose to park for a day and come back for more the next day, or some players can choose to park for the rest of the event. Through a series of very articulate estimations, a player can park their experience point amount at a certain number. I'm not experienced in this regard, but I believe you can use tools such as the event planner on the sekai.best database website to calculate how to get to a certain EXP value. Boating refers to when a player gets pushed out of a specific spot on the leaderboard. Say a player wants and is at the top 15 spot on the leaderboard, but somebody else came in and took the spot overnight. These kinds of scenarios are bound to happen, so often some players near or at that spot will coordinate with each other and negotiate a compromise. You can do the same, but as a firm believer of fair competition, do know that if both parties cannot reach a compromise, boating is often the result of someone putting in more time and resources than the boated, so you will need to step up your game as well. If you plan to play with others in a server for example, you might also see the term otsu being thrown around. Otsu is short for otsukare-sama deshita, or less formally, otsukare. This term is used to tell someone that they put in some good work today or they did a good job. In this case, people are putting in time to join you with your matches, so make sure to show your respects and use this term at the end of each session. Anyway, that was a lot of information. If you found it useful, please do leave a like and subscribe. But before we close, I'm going to talk about my own tiering experience. Of all the events I have participated in, I have reached the top 50 in 2 events. The first event was the summer event back in 2022 where I placed top 31. The second event I tiered was in Valentine's 2023 where I placed top 16. I've spent a grand total of $2 on the game. When I mentioned earlier that tiering is a time-consuming process, I really do mean it. In order to reach a top 100 spot, you will need to spend hours upon hours each day playing the game until the end of an event. This means spending anywhere from 8 to 20 hours each day for 9 days straight. Having reached top 31 and top 16, I have basically done the above twice. I have put in so many hours and resources that I might not do it again in the future. First of all, you will need basically an entire team full of new and built event characters, and with all of them as maxed out as far as you can take them. For both the summer and Valentine's event, I spent 90,000 crystals on each of them for the gacha alone, totaling 180,000. I was in a tiering Discord server by the name of Meltroom Emporium, but that server has been long gone unfortunately. In that server, I could hop into a tiering channel and find people who wanted to be in a room with me. You will need to find yourself a similar tiering server and coordinate with people in the server to create a room with you to play for hours on end. If it's a regular event, you will need multiple hours of people playing Hitorinbo Envy with you, or if it's a cheerful carnival, you will need to find players who are on the same team as you. The upside of this is that you can find and make some great friends along the way. So even if you don't plan to tier, this can be a great way to meet people in the Sekai community. Next is the energy spent. You'll have to do hundreds of thousands of 10 times energy usage runs. At this rate, your energy refill cans will run out in the blink of an eye, and you will have to start digging into your crystal fund. I wasn't able to calculate the total amount of crystals I spent, unfortunately, but if I had to take a guess, I'd say probably upwards of 30,000 per event, which means I spent around 60,000 crystals just from event energy alone. As you can see, by tiering 2 events and making the top 31 and top 16 spots, I spent upwards of 240,000 crystals. And if I consider the time spent on both events, maybe around 200 hours of playtime, all for 2 very fancy titles. And to add on to the fact that I had university classes during Valentine's week. This meant finishing my homework days in advance and skipping basically any activity I was a part of. Needless to say, I do not recommend this. So if you plan for a top 100 run, be prepared to set aside 80 to 200 hours in a 9-day span, along with around 150,000 crystals. And please do remember to prioritize your health. Do not skip your meals and make sure to take regular breaks. Your eyes need it, your hands need it, your body needs it, and your brain needs it. At the end of the day, is tiering worth it? At the rate at which I tiered at, probably not. Especially if you are a free-to-play player. You should consider not only the time involved with this process, but also the health risks that come with playing for extended periods of time. Tiering can also lead to extreme burnout, so keep this in mind. Tiering at a high level is the ultimate proof of dedication to the game and to your favorite character or group, but it should not come at the expense of your own health. For people who want to aim higher, top 500 is very reasonable and honestly pretty high up there already. I'd say if you're just in it for the rewards, you can aim for the top 5,000, but for most casual players, you'll find it more than enough to place in the top 10,000. Thanks for watching. There was a lot more information than usual compared to my last few videos, but if you learned something today, do leave a like and subscribe. If you have an event that you plan to tier in the future, do share in the comments. I wish you the best of luck. And until next time.
ねえ、今日はバレンタインだけど、外に出なくていいんですか？今日はプロセカのイベントがあるんだから無理ですね。まあいいけど、彼女ができてなら教えてくださいね。いってらっしゃい。
いたずらは知らん顔で言い訳は涙を使って寂しいな遊びたいな蜂蜜みたいにドロドロあなたにもあなたにも私はさ必要ないでしょ世の中に剣もほろろ楽しそうなお祭りねさああんよあんよこっちおいで手を叩いて歩けだったかやんよやんよそっぽ向いて今日も私は悪い恋団子